How many people would like to sit in on a little conversation with some network marketing legends? All right, so we're going to bring out this amazing lineup. I'm going to start by bringing out Eli and Jelena Defesh. We'll bring them all out. Jeff Roberti, Cheryl Cortese. Come on out, guys. Have a seat. Donna Johnson. And Mr. George Zalicki. Get over here, sister. Yes, yes. Here, why don't you sit here, George? I'll move over. Okay. Here's what I would like this to be. Two people here have yet to introduce, or three people have yet to introduce themselves. So why don't you guys start, introduce yourselves, let everybody know who you are and your background and what's happened for you in the profession without any company names, stuff like that, etc. And then we'll have Donna Johnson do the same, and then we'll start. Absolutely. It is fantastic to be with you guys. And you know what? The view up here is spectacular. It's spectacular. You know, I'm so glad that my grandfather came to this country in 1958. You know, being born in Jordan and coming from a Middle Eastern background, you know, I'm a camel jockey, right? And I'm proud of it. Greatest people in the world. And he came out here because they said that the streets were lined with gold. Come to America, right? And my mother, God bless my mother, she always said, she told me all the time, you could be anything. You're the greatest. You're so smart. You're so handsome. My mother would always encourage me. So I decided to become a hairstylist. I wanted to be like Warren Beatty. Is that for real? Huh? For real? For real. Wow. I mean, you want me to tell the truth or what? I was just... Oh, my name. Yeah, tell them who you are. Okay, my name is Eli Defesh. And, man, I just wanted to be like Warren Beatty. You know, they told me that, you know, you could ride a motorcycle, grow your hair out long, and pick up on chicks. And at 22 years old, that's all I needed to hear. And 3 salons later, and employees, basically, you know, babysitting employees and having landlords and assistants and receptionists and insurances and distributors and stocking and all loading and all that kind of stuff, and FICA-fed OSHA workers' comp. I was welcomed in the world of owning your own business as an entrepreneur. I just bought myself a job. And that's what I did until one of my clients she did a great job. She said, Eli, with a personality like yours, you make a ton of money doing what I do. And what do you say when someone says that to you? What do you do? Next thing I know, I'm at her house, and I see a presentation for a network marketing company, 1995, Eric. And I'll never forget the quote that got me, and I've been in since. And it was J. Paul Getty's quote. And J. Paul Getty said, you guys know it? I'd rather have 1% of 100 man's efforts did 100% on my own. And I said, I ran to my car, and I called my wife, Jelena, and I said, Jelena, I found it. We're going to be rich. And I've never looked back since. Let me ask you a couple quick questions. Yes, sir. You've been involved since 1995. Yes, sir. Combined total career earnings, approximately how much? Over 30 mil. Over 30 million, okay? Over 30 million.
And Ms. Cortese, approximately, and I know most of you don't talk about your incomes at all, and I know it's not even part of your cultures or anything else. No, but I'm talking about just among our peers here, talking about what's possible and the mindset necessary in order to be able to build something long-term and do something long-term. 30 million. Cheryl, approximately? 25. Over 25 million. Jeff Roberti's over 80 million. George, career close to 50 million. Donna Johnson, over 25 million. She doesn't keep track. And I know sometimes you're like, well, no, forget about me. But in this environment, it's important because I will tell you the people who are just now hitting the $1 million marks, they're looking to people who've gone before as examples of what to do in order to be able to get that level of success. So please have your beautiful bride introduce herself.
My name is Jelena Daffish, and yes, the view is amazing. I love you guys. What an honor. Really, what an honor. Thank you, Eric, for an honor.
Pleasure.
Thank each and every one of you for, sharing in today, and thank you for creating this amazing family reunion. We are family. Is this great? Is this the best family reunion ever? It absolutely is. So, when you're partners and spouses and mates, sometimes your story is his story and her story is his story, and history begins. So part of my story is some of his story, and I also came from the beauty industry, purely coincidental that we both had the beauty industry background. And when we met, and I was a manicurist, so I always felt that I was one of those underpaid therapists because I held hands and rubbed feet of many men and women for a long time, and I knew everything, and I knew every MLM pyramid out there also. So when I was always presented this amazing opportunity, I always thought it was one of those pyramid things. So I thought, okay, well, it sounds good for you, enjoy it, and I'm going to keep doing what I do. So when Eli did go to that presentation and he called me up and he said, honey, I found this and we're going to be rich, I thought, I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, and excuse me, God, but I don't know what I just did by marrying this guy because he's one of those crazy guys. And our life has, it's changed, and we've never looked back. And our journey began, and our journey now puts us on this stage, and what an honor. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah,
you're very welcome. Miss Donna Johnson.
Thank you, Eric.
Rock star.
Thank you.
This woman leads all over the world like they all do. They all have global businesses. Outside of George, who's just recently retired, right? He just recently retired. But built huge businesses around the world. He's an ambassador, going to continue to be an ambassador around the world, which is very exciting. But Donna has just this massive organization. She has the biggest heart. It was so fun to go to her wedding this summer. And be
Michael
a part
Jackson,
of that.
your performer.
And we saw the Michael Jackson guy that opened up the opening night. He was at their wedding, so we went, wow, that would be a good idea.
He was fun, wasn't he?
Yeah,
well,
fun guy.
First of all, I just want to take a minute because Eric and Marina, you guys have really, really elevated our profession this week. How many of you believe that? This is an incredible, incredible event. I'm so proud, proud.
Thank you.
And aren't they absolutely beautiful? If you don't have Networking Times, definitely subscribe. I really think it's a gem in the profession to, like you say, get professional. Don't play around and be an amateur or a poser. In fact, if you've been featured in Networking Times, will you stand up? There are so many rock stars in this room. If you have been featured, it's amazing.
Cool.
So, Josephine and Chris Gross, where are you guys? Aren't they amazing? Let's give them a shout out. Because it really is true. We have to unite as a profession and not circle the wagons and shoot each other. And I'll tell you, the Six-Figure Summit, if you make sure you get there next year. If you're not a six-figure earner, get there. Because those 2 days, I took so much notes. Jeff and I were talking about that, how many notes we took. And your transparency and your authenticity, you made me cry several times just telling your story. And I had somebody come up to me earlier and say, gosh, you're a rock star. What would you have done different? And I said I wouldn't have changed a thing, because every mistake I made, I learned from it. And it's such an incredible, incredible journey. So thank you. And it's funny because you say I have a global organization. I was just in Poland a couple of weeks ago, and I was traveling around through trains and buses and building and prospecting, and I actually walked into a bus station, and they were telling me where to go. Oh, don't take the train from Torrent to Gdansk. You're going to have to take the bus because the train is going to be complicated. And I walk in the train station, and basically I didn't speak Polish, and they just kind of shooed me away, like, get out of here. And I literally am in the train station just practically crying and saying, does anybody speak English that can help me? So just, always stay relevant, stay growing, stay building, because your team, if you've lost sight of your goals and vision, just set a new goal, because there's so many people to help and so many lives to change in this profession, and we're just getting started, aren't we?
We are. We're just warming up. Well, thank you for being here, Donna. Thank you very much. All right, so we have 2 microphones here somewhere, right? Is there another one? You get one of you sitting on one? I think one of you have one on the chair somewhere. Cheryl's got it.
No wonder she was so comfortable there.
Okay. Here's what I'd like. What I'd like this to be is just a conversation. We'll pretend that these guys aren't here for the moment and just have a conversation. This is the kind of conversations that I really, really love. Anytime we can go sit on a deck somewhere or sit outside somewhere and just relax. Yeah, relax and talk about what's going on in our profession. What I'd like to hear from everybody to start is, and I haven't prepared anything for this other than just wanting to chat, is how have you seen our profession change from when you started to where it is today? What's been the transformation that's happened inside of our profession, and what kind of comments, what have you seen, Cheryl?
Start with me, since I have this mic in my hand.
Sure.
Okay. Well, over 27 years, certainly it's much easier to access the marketplace. There's no question about that. Through technology, as Jeff said earlier today, we started with a rotary dial phone. And you had to go physically to everyone to introduce and to go through everything. I see people on a much broader scale as far as age range, from very young to people well past retirement age, and with huge enthusiasm. And there's much more heart, is the other thing. It's this huge heart in it. People want to be part of something that truly makes a difference. They want their life to mean more than just creating a dollar. They want to leave a legacy, and they want to be part of something that makes a difference for other people. So there's a great joy in going along with this that, it was always exhilarating. Jeff and I can both tell you that. I used to say, you can't call the house after 10 o'clock at night, because I have to sleep sometime and I'll get too excited about what tomorrow is going to bring. But there was always that exhilaration, but there is a powerful heart mission that I didn't really recognize.
In the early days, it was dialing for dollars. It was just money, 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 money.
Well,
a little bit more?
It was people too.
Yeah.
But it was,
it's gotten a little bit more heart centered, is what you're saying?
Yes, there's a heart center to it now. And not that people didn't matter, they did. But it's just a really different feeling. Okay?
Jeff, how have you seen things change over the years?
Can I have another question?
Would you like another one? I'll give you another one.
I'll give that one to George.
All right. Go ahead. I'll give you another one.
He's been around longer than me.
Nice going, Jeff. I was going to try that myself. I'm sure I'll have a chance to get even.
Yeah, oh yeah.
From my perspective, I've always had a passion for developing people. It's in my background, it was in my research, it was in my academic background. And I was always frustrated when I could see people that were led to something without being properly prepared how to win at the game. There was certainly great attraction where people would come to a meeting, a so-called an opportunity meeting, and there was too much emphasis in the beginning on the money. There was too much flash about, people in 2 months, 3 months. And I started a phrase very early when I would give trainings, and I said, the truth is, if at first you do succeed in this industry, please try to hide your astonishment. because it's not normal for most people. And so I was always committed to the personal development side of the industry. And I bounced around a bit. I always made good money, but I was trying to find the culture, the place where that was absolutely permeated from the top to the bottom. And that was difficult in the early days to find, because you may have pure motives, and then all of a sudden you get some scoundrel in your outfit and you're chasing around and cleaning up the mess. And it's, to me, it's the ethics have changed. The environment of necessity to look at other things has certainly come upon us. There's no more security. Research says now, you leave a university today, you're going to have about 8 different job careers in your lifetime. That's pretty anxiety-producing. And so there's more listening because there's more validation of success among those people who stayed with it. So, and I see people stay with it longer now. Years ago, they'd come in and bang. They're around 2 weeks. Their mother don't like it. Their brother don't like it. Their best friend, who doesn't have a dime, tells them it won't work, and they listen to them. And so it's changed. People are now starting to think that, you know what, there's enough classy people, well-educated, credentialed people that are saying this is a fantastic opportunity for the average person with a work ethic to do whatever they want. So
let me ask you a question, George. You talked about the importance of culture and the importance of personal growth. I think all the top earners that I know, they really emphasize personal growth in their organizations, and they live it, right? When you talk about somebody coming in, and I want you to be really candid here. Somebody comes in and tries to mess with that culture. How do you respond?
Well, first of all, you know that's toxic. And if there's anything we know, you get around toxic people, some of that poison could rub off on you. So you always be courteous and nice to people, but let them know you don't stand for it. That this is not a place that we tolerate this. I'm giving you an opportunity to correct your behavior and your attitude. If it's not, you really don't belong here with us. So I'd appreciate you exiting or leaving, and just let it alone, because I've got my eye on you.
Right.
And usually they kind of go, well, I'm done. I should try to clean it up. 2 eyes. 2 eyes, right, Jeff? But that's basically what you do.
Yeah. And I think most strong leaders, the first time they see that, they have a conversation pretty early. They don't let it fester very long if somebody's coming in and abusing the organization or...
You see, the strength of what you're doing here is that there's no recruiting. There's no cross-recruiting.
Right.
There's nobody messing with other people's people. Years ago, that used to be a nightmare in the industry. You were afraid to have anybody talk to anybody.
Right.
You know, this is phenomenal.
Right. Yeah. Cool. All right. We'll applaud at the end. We only have so much time. One big applause at the end. Don, did you have any thoughts about what he was talking about? How things have changed and the importance of culture, personal growth, those
we built on a dirt road, and you guys are on a super highway. Don't you love it with the internet? I mean, a highlight for me this weekend was the 30 Under panel, because you guys are amazing. You're our future. And I can relate because I started my business in Dark 100 as a teenager, and you just have to step into it and rise above. But and you guys are in for life, right? And so you will have cultural challenges. You will have ups and downs. And let me just share from, let our wisdom and hindsight be your foresight, okay? And even if culture doesn't seem important, it is the glue that will hold it together. And I have found people, they either get nice and get your culture, or they get out because they don't feel comfortable in your culture.
Any thoughts on how things have changed from you guys' perspective?
There was 2 questions, right? The first one was, if somebody came into my organization, how would I deal with it?
Yeah.
Want to know how I would deal with it?
Yeah.
So... They're coming over here to ask for a favor? They don't ask how the family's doing? Yeah, I'll tell you.
You give them an offer they can't refuse?
Yeah, I give them an offer they can't refuse. I promise. Guido. I'm going to bring Guido over. You know, the most exciting... the most exciting part about what's happening right now is the young demographic. And when I saw those studs up here, come on, Jeff, you know, we saw those studs that reminded us of, you know, back in the day. And the reason I'm saying that is because, like, there's a guy by the name of Evan. I think I'm looking at him at the front row. And I everywhere I don't know you, Evan. I never met you in my life, but you are everywhere. You're like with a camera. I don't know if you work for Eric or you're an independent distributor, and you got this long stick with this phone at the end of it, and you walk into conversations, and you're getting videos, and we're getting recording. People can brand themselves now, Eric.
Yeah.
They can do through social media and go global and meet somebody in China, somebody in Europe, somebody in the Middle East, somebody and be able to at least have a conversation. We couldn't do that before. You have to buy a ticket, get on a plane. You have to know somebody there before you go. So the climate has changed so much. I was sitting, a friend of mine, Grant Cardone, I was sitting at his home up in the hills, and he said, Eli, are you using social media to your advantage? And I said, no, to be honest with you, I'm sort of computer illiterate. I have to have secretaries and my wife and people do that stuff. I'm still old school. He said, well, sit down. I want to show you something. He said, I'm sitting here with millionaire Eli Daffish, who's with such and such a company, and we're just hanging out. And then he goes, look up there. What do you see? I said, is that 12,600? He said, that's right. That's called Twitter. 12,600 people. He goes, now I'm going to do it again. Watch. And then I saw another 6,700. He said, you realize 20,000 people just found out, and I've already gotten 15 responses in 5 minutes. So the ability to move quicker, faster, the tools, the systems, the climate of what's happening, and now with the fact that the Economist stood on your stage and said that the next 5 years is a downtime, and that means that it's going to be New Year's every single day in this industry, and having those tools available, it's a different game, and you can move and build so much faster. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
I mean, so much faster, quicker,
a lot faster
than ever before.
Jeff, you got something.
Yeah, I was going to just add on the. If somebody comes in, you were doing the Vito Corleone.
Yeah.
I call Paulo Facebook. No, it's funny. I was joking about the age thing with George because, you know, when I came in, I was 24 and I was a Gen Wire of my time. And I guess my social media was a newspaper. You know, I was very good at running ads and creating critical mass and activity through that. And it was interesting. I've got this great group of Gen Wires over in the UK now that are doing things in a year that took some of us 10 years to do. And they had me on a conference call just this past month. And they introduced me, you know, Jeff Roberti's been with the company for 28 years, he's an $80 million man, blah, blah, blah. And they said, you know, and he's been doing this longer than we've all been alive before we were all born. I was like, hold on, let me turn up my hearing aid here. So it kind of hit me that, you know, I was once that, and now I'm moving into a different stage of life. You know, and we certainly go through, I would say, you know, different stages. You know, when I came in, I was certainly a different person than I am today. Back then, we were very opportunity-driven, and, you know, and it's hard to get distracted when you're counting money. I mean, when things were going well. But today, you know, we've evolved. I have found that you have to be flexible. You know, the one constant of the universe is change. Things are changing. They're evolving. And now we've gone to a very customer-driven, building a growing customer base, building relationships, building it on rock, not sand. So, you know, and some of the people that weren't willing to change with that left and went somewhere else. And the ones that stayed, like Cheryl and I and some of the other leaders, we were able to evolve with that change, and we're flexible enough to realize that we had to grow and we had to change, and it started with us first as leaders. So that would be one point that I would make. The other thing, Eric, is, you know, my hat's off to you, my friend. I've never, ever considered doing anything outside of, you know, the company, because like I said, you're focused, you've got blinders on. no distractions. All excuses, all distractions are equal. But when you came to me, I said, you know what? This guy's heart's in the right place. He's a giver. There's integrity. And I said, you know what? This is a chance to pay it forward and play at a higher level and get out of just your home team and take it around the world. So my hat's off to you, Eric, for what you're doing, brother.
Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you very much. Okay. I have a very serious question to ask. I have two questions I'm going to ask, and I think we have time to answer two questions from each of you. The first question, or the second question I'll give you first, you can throw it in your brain, is going to be, what makes you different? You're all involved in companies, and you've made 50 million, 80 million, 25 million, 30 million, 25 million, over $200 million in career earnings. What makes you different? What are the things that separated you from the six-figure earners, that separated from the five-figure earners, and separated you from the no earners? So I would like to know from your perspective, what are the few things that you do different? Because I found that the people at the highest level, they think and act a little bit different than the people that operate at different levels. So that's the second question. The first question is, and we'll start with George. If you had a magic wand and you could wave it and change anything about the network marketing profession around the world, what would it be?
I don't think I would change it. I would attempt to keep it on track as the way I see it going. And I would be very protective of the industry by compelling people to work with integrity and dignity and be respectful of the dreams of others who look up to us to nurture those dreams. And I've often said that you're going to kiss a lot of frogs before you find the prince, and you have to be willing to do that with grace and charm and love. And I think the more that you love your people, the more you're not a fallover. You're not letting them lean. You're empowering them, and then you're asking them to do what they're already capable of doing and reminding them of that every day.
So if I could restate it, what you're saying is you'd love to see more heart in the profession. You'd love to see people coming from a place of personal relationship and friendship and growth, regardless of the companies that they're involved in. That you'd like to take a little bit of the shark out when it comes to from between company and company and the infighting that would tend to go on there. I know you said it in a very elegant way, but I think that permeates in a lot of different directions.
Let me give you an observation. I've been doing this for a lot of years in the personal development field, a lot of counseling, ran a lot of seminars. What I have found is there is really a very deep, universal search for answers of higher order. Who the heck are we? What are we doing here? How should we conduct ourselves? Almost going back to Aristotle and Plato with the great debate they used to have on those three things. Where did we come from? Who are we? What are we supposed to be doing? And it seems to me that even science today is validating the awareness that when you come from a sense of generativity, of caring about other people, that every part of your cell in your body is celebrating. It seems to be a natural inclination. But when you're not that way, when you're disruptive or you have evil thoughts or you're trying to take advantage of people, your immune system is conspiring against your well-being. And so nature tells us, when I talk about universal laws, nature's saying, knock, 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 wake up, buddy. I got the rules. You just fold in, you're going to do fine. You're going to make money. You're going to have happiness. You're going to have great friends. And you're going to share and help people become all they can become. That's my passion, and I ain't changing.
I love it. You had a chance to think on what would you change if you could change anything worldwide?
Well, I think the second part is more in line for me.
Go ahead.
What was the second question, by the way?
The second question is, what makes you different? You've made over $80 million, and I've known several billionaires. I've been mentored by 2 billionaires in my life, and they just think they're on a different, like if it's a radio channel, it's a different channel. It's a different wavelength. And I found that top earners act and think a little bit different than the people at the middle earnings and the people at the bottom earnings. What do you think makes you different
Well,
from
there's
the average?
I mean, there's a handful of things, Eric. I mean, first of all, you guys heard what I shared earlier. You know, as far as the fact that you are always focused on other people's needs. You know, meeting their needs, meeting them where they're at, finding out what their wants and needs are, not your needs, and then adding value to their lives, creating some type of meaningful experience that's important to them, whether it's with your product or service or with your opportunity. And then to build raving fan relationships, raving fan customers, raving fan distributors. Long-term relationships equal long-term success. Here's an example right here to my right. And people, you know, I've said this for years, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you're putting their needs ahead of your needs, I've always cared more about my customers and the results they get more so than the money I'm earning. Care more about your distributors and helping them get off to a fast start in the money they're earning more so than what you go into a relationship to give, not get. You're not measuring what you get in return. And if you operate that way in life, your business will chase you down. You focus on the paying activities. I've never focused on money or position. It's the paying activities. But the one thing I will add that's probably separated me income-wise is, you know, it's easy to fall into what I call the management mode. You get a few people on your team, and then you become a manager, and you manage these people. Well, you know, what happens is distributors do not what you tell them to do, they do what you do. So some of your producers that are in the production stage that you're managing, all of a sudden they start to get a few people on their team, and now they move up to the manager mode, right? They got to manage their producers, which pushes you into the overseer position. Now you're overseeing the managers that manage the producers. Well, it keeps moving the same way where some of your managers now, they become overseers, which pushes you now to an overseer of the overseers that oversees the managers that manages the producers. And you're not in the room, you're not here, you're outside, you know, goofing off, right? You're not even engaged. Or you become stressed out. It becomes a job. It's no longer fun. The key, the way to make money, the way to have fun is to always stay in the production stage. To produce. Nothing will ignite your business more. For those of you in the room, those of you listening out there on the online, streaming online or whatever it's called, nothing will ignite your business more than putting on 5 new frontline leaders. Leaders in this room, go back out and do what you did in the beginning that got you to your top position. Do that over again. Stay in that production stage. That's where the juice is. That's where the growth is. That's where the fun is working with those new baby distributors. They're excited. They're teachable. They've got a fresh, warm market, and they're hungry. I said it last year. It's easier to give birth than raise the dead, right? Quit pushing some of these people and go get somebody new. So that would be probably what separated me, as I never got comfortable, kept stretching myself, getting into uncharted waters. Hey, the bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. You start figuring out how to open up some of these other markets and countries and learn new skills, it pays. And then as your check grows.
Yeah.
I took a shot of tequila before I came in here, by the way, so I'm on a roll.
I like it. I was going to ask you the same question.
No, what I was going to say, but as your check grows, I look at it. Some people, oh, you know, the money. Look, as your income starts to grow, the bigger impact you've had, the bigger difference you've made, the more lives you've touched, not only with your product or service, but with their financial freedom, you know, as far as helping somebody grow as a person and realizing their dreams. So that would be what's probably has separated me. And then the last thing I'll say is keeping yourself in a peak resourceful state. You got to show up in a state where you can inspire other people. Success breeds success. You know, somebody could talk to somebody about the same product, and 5 people could talk to the same person about the same product and opportunity, and one person shows up, and why all of a sudden do they light up? The you part. So,
yeah. I'm going to add one more thing, and I know you're on a roll, but one more thing that I know from all of these people is a commitment to lifelong learning.
Oh,
an absolute focus. I'm not talking about just reading a book here and there. I'm talking about study. I'm talking about he sat in the six-figure summit. He could buy and sell most people in the room, and he sat there for 2 days and took notes, and I'm just stunned, you know, a guy almost $100 million in earnings is sitting there taking notes for 2 days, and I mentioned to him, he says, well, of course I would. That's what we do. We're here to learn and grow and get better and develop ourselves. So never being too cool to learn. I've noticed from the top earners, they're always sitting up front taking notes and doing the thing. So Cheryl.
I just wanted to make a comment on some of the things he said, because I've worked alongside him every day for, 27 years. And sometimes you can observe things that the person may not realize. And 2 or 3 observations that I think really sets him apart just as an observer is that he can't hear any negative. Can't. If someone has something negative to say, there just is no conversation. Okay? It doesn't happen. He doesn't allow it. I have watched him really keep himself in that positive state all the time. The other thing is that he always shines the light on the people that are growing up beneath him. It's never to shine the light on him. It's been to shine the light on them. And I think that is an amazing way to empower other people, but then it reflects back. And so, you know, those things I think definitely set him apart. And all the things he mentioned, they're absolutely right on.
Let me ask you, as you look at growing a business and as you've grown a business, if you could wave a magic wand and see anything, you know, any little thing that you would like to see us together, this is an opportunity around the world for all of us to tweak the standards just a bit, to be able to say, this one thing is something that doesn't serve us. Let's tweak that, folks. Any of those things?
That's a hard one.
I know.
That's a hard question.
I know, but I'm just wondering if...
You know, as I'm thinking about this, you know, it's an evolution and education. We're evolving together. I wouldn't want to give away or change any of the experiences I've had at this point, but I'm very proud of the fact that I've been able to grow up in it as I have. I would love to see the day when, you know, when someone describes that they're a network marketing professional, that the same respect is shown throughout our entire world, that it's an amazing profession to pursue.
I think we're on our way.
I taught on university level. I'd like to see the day. I've often had that fantasy. Oh, I'd love to see this taught as a university course. But I'd like to see the day when a student enrolls and says, this is the profession I choose to pursue, and I'd like to know everything about it that I can possibly know, because it will give me prestige and esteem to live this life. Those are some of the things that off the top of my head.
I love that.
Okay.
If you guys could wave a magic wand on anything in the profession, what would you like to?
Yeah, I'm ready. I know. Well, I wanted to definitely say exactly what she did. The first thing that came to my mind when you asked us all that question was the respect. Because I wouldn't want to change anything about this amazing industry, because I feel we all have to go, as she said, also, we're evolving. We have to have the beginning stages that we all went through, all the trials and tribulations. But the first thing definitely was respect. That this industry have that level of respect, that each and every one of you, when you leave next week or tomorrow, whenever it is, and you go back home, not only are you going to take all the notes and everything you learned from these amazing speakers and trainers, but you are going to stand tall and walk proud of what you do. And don't be ashamed to share with your friends and family what you do, because there's someone out there that's crying, and someone out there is begging for you to talk to them. So just remember that. Some of the other things about this industry, wow, boy, could we talk, huh, ladies and gentlemen? But you want to get real? You know, negativity, gossip, people wanting to take you down as you're rising, talking bad about your team members, talking bad about other companies, not embracing your support team, your downline, your sideline, whatever it is. Why? Why do we all feel we need to do that? Is that just what we do as humans? Or is that how we want to be labeled as network marketers and in this industry? I don't want to be labeled as that. Someone came up to me this weekend and said something was said. You know what I want to do? I want to confront that person. I'm going to have my godfathers by my side, get ready, and I'm going to ask them why.
Yeah, why'd you say that, right?
Why? What, does that make you feel better? Does that serve you better? Are you not proud? Do you feel that person isn't honest? Why would you do something? So I would like that definitely to change. I don't feel we should go through that evolution anymore. I feel that needs to be stopped.
Yeah. Another way to say it is we catch enough heat from uneducated people outside of our profession. We don't need to take shots at ourselves and our friends inside of this profession.
Right.
This is a small town. It's a small community. It's okay for you to brag about how good your company is. Just resist the urge for the other part of that conversation, that how inferior the other company or the other organization is. And I will say I've made that mistake in my career, and I've regretted it. I've learned from it. I think most people who've been around have made that mistake at one time or another. You get frustrated, and sometimes it becomes like a feud. And in order to end a feud, somebody has to stop.
That's right.
Because if one takes a shot, then the other one says, well, I'm going to take one shot, and then I'm going to stop. And as soon as they take the one shot, the other one says, well, I'm going to respond, and then I'm going to stop. And at some point, everybody's just got to say, you know what? I'm just not going to say it anymore.
That's right.
And if they're going to say it, let them be. Let them say it. Let them do their thing. And eventually, it's just like you said with the culture, the person who's always sniping at somebody trying to do good in our profession will eventually be on this small little island by themselves, and nobody will listen to them anymore.
That's right.
That would be nice, that we can all kind of support each other. We get enough heat from other places.
The cream rises to the top.
Yeah.
Where do you want to be? Do you want to be at the top, or do you want to still be doing what they're doing? So
I really like what you mentioned about Jeff. He can't hear that negativity. He just can't even hear it. We're even talking about it. He's going, when are we going to talk about some business building stuff?
But it does happen.
Get me out of this conversation. You know what I mean?
I'll add to that, Eric. More people spend too much time on the problem
and
not enough time on the solution.
That's right.
I would recommend, I say, look, if you're part of the problem or if you're part of the solution, if you're part of the solution, let's talk. If you're part of the problem, we don't have anything to talk about here. Spend 10% of the time on the problem, 90% of the time on the solution. Look, it's not a perfect world anywhere you go. What's wrong in life is always available, but what's right in life is also always available.
Yep.
You know, so sometimes life is not happening to us, life is happening for us. So you need to just change the thinking and be part of the solution. So you just don't have time for it. You know, it's like, you know, I don't do depression. You know, I mean, I used to get depressed or, you know, angry and have all these negative emotions, but you know what I became a master of? Compressing the time. Things that used to bother me for 2 or 3 months, I got it down to 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 days, 20, 30 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Now it's 20 or 30 seconds. And it's gone, and I choose happy. I choose to focus on what's right in life, right? Gratitude. If you're grateful, negative emotions and fear cannot exist. So you go back to a place of gratitude.
Love that.
Just want to finish, and I agree, absolutely. Also, you know, what separates us, I don't think anything really separates us. I believe that we all have greatness, all of us, each and every one of us. All of you will be on Eric's stage or a stage grander, which will probably still be Eric's stage. So know that. But get comfortable with uncomfortable. Get comfortable with uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, man, you are comfortable, for sure.
How about you?
You know, at the end of the day, Eric, we are all the CEO and founder of our own company. So as each of you that are participating in a program out there, you have to visualize and see yourself as that owner, as that founder, not as an independent distributor, because as you do that, you conduct yourself more in a professional manner. You've got to visualize that you just spent $100K, $500K, $1 million, for whatever that person is spending. I tell you this, I would make it a mantra as this man to my right, Eric and Marina Worry, as they have taken on basically a challenge, because back in the day, Jeff, George, you know what I'm talking about, back in the day when people did say, oh, is that a pyramid? Is that one of those things? Oh, man. You know, and it's not like that anymore. So as I get what you're doing, you're rising the professional sort of view. You're branding us in a different way. But that's a unified effort. Mm-hmm. That's going to take every single person in this room. So right now, as you see yourself 12 months from now, back here, you don't see yourself just you. You see yourself, how many do you want? Do you guys want 1 or 2? Do you guys want 5? Do you guys want 10? How about 20, 30, 50? Can you come with 100? Why not? Why can't you do that? Can we take this movement around the world and continue to get together from different companies? She's from this program, they're from that program. You're from this religious belief. You have that religious belief. Well, there's only one God anyways, you know. So there's a respect level for one another that continues to rise. And so we don't just see this. We see this in coliseums. I can only imagine what's going on in your mind. You see forums and coliseums. Because at the end of the day, what are we in? We are in the personal and business development world. That's what we are. Except there's a commission attached to it. See, now when we tell a friend to go out and, hey, you know what, brother? I know you're going through some hard times, but the best thing you can do for yourself is to work on you. Because when you work on you, then things begin to happen. So we are in that business of working on ourselves. And you know what? The best advice I've gotten from my mentors, because basically that's what you are. You're a mentor to people, and as we all have mentors, they always come back. Jeff, George, ladies, what do they always say? They say, one of the greatest questions that was asked to me when I was at the height of my career, making millions. And you want to know what the question was? And I'm going to ask everybody in the audience that question. The question that was asked to me. And that person said this to me. Eli, can I ask you a question? I said, sure, man. Go ahead, tell me. He said, are you truly fulfilled with your life? Are you truly fulfilled with your life? And my immediate answer was, no. And I'm at the height of my career. He said, why not? I said, because I kind of feel like I'm operating down at this level when I really got potential to be operating at this level. He said, well, what's keeping you back? I said, I don't know. I'm spending so much time with people. I feel like I need to incorporate some better systems, you know, and I don't have enough time to take more cruises and more vacations and spend more time with my family. I feel like I'm working too much. And he said, well, let me ask you a question. He said, you know, a couple of years ago, I took my eye off the ball, and a couple of guys came in and took me for a couple $100,000. The guy I'm talking to is worth a couple $100 million. He said, they took me for a couple $100,000. You know what I learned from that, Eli? And I said, what? He said, I will never take my eye off the ball again. He said, so why can't you see yourself running to all 12 cylinders and still being able to cruise and travel and do the things you want? Because at the end of the day, what business do you think we're in? We're in the connection business. And the better that your ability to connect with other people, and you asked a very significant question. You said, what makes the upper echelon people, the guys and gals that are making this extraordinary income, okay, what makes us different? I think it's because we still see ourselves as beginners. We still see ourselves as day one. And so as we go on and pay it forward, Jeff, you've been talking about paying it forward. As we go on and pay it forward to people, and we go out and get out of this tit-for-tat way of living, that means I give you a gift, well, you got mine for, you know, where's mine? Rather than you go out and do something nice for somebody else, that's the business we're in. So my interest or your interest in putting a check in my pocket, or my interest putting a check in your pocket and helping you with your debt, helping you find out your why, your purpose, is what I think makes the upper sort of creme de creme in the industry, because we're inviting people to stay at our home. We're inviting people to hang out with us. And when we build teams and we recognize and we do recognition and edification, Babies cry for it, men die for it, and we are in the recognition business. So as we are recognizing each other and complimenting one another, and we're going out of our way to help the next person get the life they want, that's how you build a team. And then when you go in and you start working with that person and you find, oh, hey, I sponsored you, but who did you bring in? George and Frank over there. He's the go-getter. Well, then go work with Frank 5 levels down. He's your anchor. And everybody above gets a check. That's called leverage income.
You know what's interesting?
It's you know.
George said relationships. Jeff said relationships. Cheryl said relationships. You guys said relationships. Isn't that wild? It's not about tactics and strategies, and it's not about, you know, they work 8 million hours a week or whatever. It's about the size of the heart and the amount that they're willing to give. And people are human lie detectors. They can find out if you're a taker. And they may hang out with you if you're a taker, if they can get something from it. But if you're a giver and you really, really, really give, and that translation, and I talked about it in the Six Figure Summit, I've gone through 4 stages in my career. I was a faker, just totally faking it with pure ambition when I first started. Some of you knew me at that stage. And then I became a taker, where ambition overwhelmed my better sense. I wanted success so bad. My ambition was too big. Then I became a fighter. And some people have been fighters at different stages, and that fueled me for a while. But the byproduct of being a fighter is there's always going to be drama in your life. There's always going to be negativity lingering in your life by that fighter mentality. And then I transitioned to be a giver, and I walked away from those other emotions, and I just said, I'm just going to give, and I'm not going to keep score, and I'm going to give again and give again and give again and not keep score. And you wouldn't believe how peaceful your life gets when you go into a giver stage. You won't believe, for those fighters in the room, and I understand the ones that want to prove it to somebody else, you won't believe how that transition happens. So, Donna, if you could change anything in the profession, what would it be?
Wasn't that great what he just shared?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a good graduation when you get there.
I have to say, for you saying something like that, I'm actually watching things change in the profession. Do you guys agree? Yes.
Fun stuff.
You make me cry. You know, we've heard it a lot this week, that the truth is enough. And, you know, I think people hype because they're scared, they don't know what to do, and that's why this, teaching people to build their skills, build their desire, build their belief and confidence, will help, I think, keep from that hype. But I'm a real stickler about situational ethics. Thomas and I have, and I'm married to a network marketer. We met in the profession, like Kimmy
they're top
and
earners
Richard.
in 2 different companies. It's so funny.
And people say, how do you make that work? You know, if you hold integrity and ethics, and there's a litmus test I always live by. It doesn't mean it always works and I'm perfect at it, but I run it through this. Always do the right thing in the right way for the right reason. Because you might do the right thing in the wrong way, or you might have the wrong reason. So do the right thing in the right way for the right reason. And when you just speak the truth in love, you will attract the right people into your business. And I think we're watching the profession change in front of our eyes. I love it.
Yes, thank you very much. All right. I want to give you some perspective really quick, and then I'm going to ask everybody for a closing comment, okay? Some perspective for a moment. George, how long have you been in the profession? How many years? Just give me the number.
I guess around 40.
40?
Yeah.
And 30, so 75, and 20, so call it 30, so 105?
21 years.
126?
37.
37, 156, 163. 163 years of experience, okay? And approximately $200 million of combined earnings. I want to give you some perspective. It took them, how many years? 163? It took them 163 years to earn approximately $200 million in commissions. To give you a perspective on our profession, that amount is paid out every single day. It took them 163 years to just understand how big we are, how powerful this profession is. What it took them 163 years to earn, that will be paid out to people around the world tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Approximately $200 million every single day. What's so exciting from bringing people in a room like this together is to see. You might be a big fish in your pond. You come in here and you go, oh, maybe I need to take a little perspective pill as to what's going on in this world and how much is possible for me moving forward. So as much as I'm just in total awe of this, what you're doing, fast forward 10 years, fast forward 20 years, $1 million a year is going to become much more normal in our profession. 6 figures is going to be just everywhere in our profession around the world, and it's going to be fun to celebrate all of that. So George, give us all a kind of a final comment, and we'll come around the panel.
Well, I only know one way to do the business, and that's to be honest with people, as we've talked here, okay? And always recognize one thing. This is one of the universal laws, that when you give, don't give a darn about getting, because the universal law says it'll come back tenfold. You just don't know when it's coming back. But if you check your life, look back, that day that something wonderful happened to you, that you said, wow, was I lucky today? You won't believe what happened. I want to tell you, it was payday. You gave something somewhere, and it came back. And it's the same way if you do something dishonest or you do something to hurt somebody. It's just waiting out there. You don't get away. I forget which philosopher said, man is not punished for his sins, he's punished by his sins. That your life becomes sort of a tangled mess until your integrity and your spirit is right. And that's what I want to give here.
Thank you very much. Jeff, final thoughts?
My final thoughts is those socks I was checking out you got on there. Maybe they can put the camera on those. Could you put the camera on those real quick, Eric? Socks? He's really quite a fashion statement there. It's a little distracting there, Eric. My final thoughts would be this. We all have some type of, limiting beliefs or in life, or we have some type of story that holds us back. And you need to find out what that story is that's holding you back in life. My advice to you would be divorce your story and marry the truth. Thank you.
Awesome.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that I think we're in the greatest time in history and that our future is just going to be amazing. I think that I know we're both excited about this and what's to come. For myself, the rule I guess I've lived by, and I feel like it's always served me well, is to treat other people exactly the way you would like to be treated, and keep other people's best interests at heart, and the money will follow you home. It just happens.
I guess the advice that I would give each and every single one of you is, before you leave this summit, this conference, just by yourself, I don't care what you got to do it, because I don't know about you, but I talked to the mirror today. Because every single one of us speakers, when we get on stage, probably you too, Eric, I'm sure, even though we've done this 1,000 times, we're at that point. We want to do our best so we can be our best, right? So if you're on a pursuit for excellence, and I'm presuming that each and every one of you are here because you're looking for a better life, you're looking to have that dream, you're looking to be able to take care of your kids and pay off that house and have that dream, life, take care of your parents, then make a decision before you leave this weekend. And if that means getting on your knees and praying, if that means getting in your face in the mirror and make a decision, are you going to do this? Are you going to go all out, even if it's 5 hours a week, all out 5 hours a week, or 10 hours a week, or whatever it is? What are you going to do? Because at the end of the day, we've heard from these amazing speakers, it's all about working on you. Because the more you work on you, the bigger your organization is going to grow, the better you're going to be able to develop a culture and a community. The people are recognized and edified, and they want to be a part of your culture, your hangout. So make a decision. And if you're going to do it, then let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's take Eric, I thank you. I didn't even know I was going to get a chance to meet you. My wife and I have never met you before. And here we are. This wasn't planned. Guys, you have to understand, we were just coming just like you. In fact, when I called Steve Duggard, your boy, by the way, I love that guy. He kind of treated me like I was just anybody. And I don't know. It's not that. It's just that I was told by a friend, so I called him back and gave him a second chance. I said, Steve, I thought we might have a second shot to talk. And
you know who you're talking to?
And I said, hey, do you know who you're talking to? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, bottom line, make a decision, you guys. Come on, let's do it. If we're going to do it, do it. If not, do something else.
All right. How about you, young lady?
All righty. Exactly. Final thought. What is your why? Stay focused on your why. Believe in yourself. You have a gift to talk about entrepreneurship and share it with the world. How empowering is that? Share what it means to be an entrepreneur. Freedom, physical, financial, spiritual, health, freedom of time. You've heard stories about people who, your beautiful grandbaby, your financial freedom gave you that gift. Jeff, with his physical health, the truth of entrepreneurship. Spread that word, make it your mission, but never give up on yourself. I can guarantee you that each and every one of us on this stage believes each and every one of you can.
Well done. Donna Johnson, wrap us up.
I will. And the truth is, how many of you want to be up here on stage? But the truth is, like Susan said last night, the universe doesn't step aside for the people who want it. If you've gone through Richard's vision workshop, it really steps aside for the person who's going to go after it and sees a difference and a contrast between now and the future. So you have to make that decision, discipline yourself, and keep setting new goals. Right now you might have a practical goal, but then they're going to get more significant and more meaningful. I loved Emily's story. I'd rather get my mom out of debt than get a Louis Vuitton. So when people just laugh at you, my family told me, go get a real job. There's hundreds of kids in 5 orphanages around the world that are living a great life because I didn't quit. So just don't quit. That's the only way you can fail.
Well done.
Everybody. Wait. Oh, one last thing. Real quick, one last thing.
Okay.
Sorry, one last thing. Sorry.
All right.
Okay, I want all of you, though, 2 things. I want to acknowledge that this true family business, 2 of our 4 children are here.
Hey, cool.
I want to acknowledge them and their amazing team and congratulate all of you that have your family in this business. But I want each and every one of you to go out there and build a team under 30 years old.
Yeah. All right, give this big group a round of applause, would you? Tell them thank you. Hold up, everybody. Let's get a quick photo. Come on, Bob. Let me come in the middle, right here. All right, thank you. Yep. Hey, Jeff, can you help him just with the stairs? Okay, everybody. How was today? Well, guess what? It's not over. Tonight we've got Paul Pilzer, a whole cast of $1 million earners. You're going to learn about next year's. Do not miss tonight, because if you miss tonight, you might miss next year. I'm just telling you. GoPro Recruiting Mastery 2015 is going to be announced tonight, and there's some very special announcements on it. Please make sure you are back in the room at 7 p.m. sharp. Enjoy your dinner.